When did you move to Los Angeles?
2009, I think it was.
Oh, during the recession?
Maybe 2009.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet that was fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was fortunate though. I had some really good friends here. Andre McCoy, who's also a stuntman and a martial artist and an actor. Um, yeah, we were friends, and yeah, he was like, "Hey man, just come on out. Like, you can stay here. Just come on out." And because I told him like at the time I'd been living in Atlanta for quite a few years, and I produced like 2 feature films out there, and at the time I was the only one sort of doing action. There were a lot of people doing relationship dramas, like Tyler Perry type films and stuff like that. So I got like a lot of um, recognition really fast because I was just doing something different. Um, and so yeah, I did a few films out there and a couple other projects out there, directed a few projects, and I felt like I had done all that I could there. Like I felt like I had sort of reached um, the ceiling out there as far as I could go. So I knew it was time to come here. You know what I mean? So.
What was that moment where you felt that? Like, was it just where you were feeling stagnant?
Well, it was after the release of my second film. It was called Champion Road Arena, and at the time I'd had 2 movies that were released worldwide through distribution. Um, they had done really well for me, and I just felt like I needed to be where things were really happening. Like I needed to. There were a lot of calls that I'd gotten, a lot of interest I'd gotten, but they were like, "Well, can you meet tomorrow?" I was like, "Well, no, I'm kind of in Atlanta," that type of thing. So it was the need to sort of be able to make things sort of happen in the moment, because when they happen, they would happen quickly. And I wasn't. I'll be like, "Well, give me a few days," and that type of thing. So I was like, "Yeah, I really feel like I've done all that I can do here." Um, and I just really need to be where everything is going on, everything's happening. Um, yeah, so it was inevitable. The move to LA was inevitable. Like it was always in the cards as well. So yeah, I think I just felt like it was time. You know.
So you're moving out here. It's 2009. Nobody kind of knows what's going on. They don't know how bad everything's going to get. How was that sort of uncertainty? I mean,
Yeah,
I think everybody was feeling it, no matter
yeah,
how supposedly stable their situation was.
yeah, yeah. I had a plan though. I mean, because um, I'm very much like that. I like to plan. I like to sort of have uh, a direction that I'm going in and certain steps that I want to take to sort of get where I want to be. And I guess it comes from when I started out. Like I started at 15. I started writing, directing, shooting, choreographing, and editing. And I started really early. Um, Shooting on Betamax. And so the way I figured out how to create an editing system for my films was I would take 2 Betamax machines, put them together. Um, I'd pop the raw foot like I'd shoot on Betamax, and I'd pop that raw footage in the top player. On the bottom player, I'd put an empty tape in there, and so and run it all through the television. And so I would use the pause and play button to actually cut on my short onto the empty tape. So I learned to get really precise, because if you make a mistake, you have to start all over again and recut the whole thing. So I used like 2 Betamax machines to edit, and then I ran a boombox into the Betamax machines into the television, and I had like all my cassette tapes kind of queued up with music, and I would have to, at the exact moment, I would have to pop the tape in and play it and record the music onto my short films. So I just kind of cooked up this elaborate way to make these short films, these little 5 minute and 10 minute little shorts, and I was sort of out of necessity. I was sort of used to doing everything myself. I would have to write the short. I would use my friends, and we would shoot on the weekends. And then throughout the week, I would edit and put the music on. And by the next weekend, I would have like a short film. Everybody sit around and watch it. And so yeah, I always sort of had that mentality of sort of having my hands in every part of the process. I'm still very much like that today. Like anytime I produce a project, or my company produces a film or anything like that, I'm like super hands on. I do like a lot of freelance work, and those are the times when I'm just directing or something like that, and things move considerably slower, you know, on those bigger projects. Like, I'm used to moving quickly and being like super efficient. Um, but yeah, uh, I think that's really why I'm able to get done as much as I do now, is because I started that way. I started with having to do so much myself, just out of necessity, and then yeah, it's interesting too, because like the first camera I ever bought, like so at 15 I put this camera on layaway. It was Japanese, this Betamax camera. It wasn't in English, so nobody wanted it. You know what I mean? And so that was the only reason I could afford it, is because it was so cheap, because nobody would buy this thing. And so I bought it. I took it home, and then I made myself like a table of contents. Like I would push a button and see what it does, and then whatever it did, I would just write that down. Like, oh, okay, that must be rewind, and this must be play, and this must be, and sort of like made myself a table of contents to use the camera until I learned all the symbols and learned what they did, and yeah, that's how I started making my first shorts, was with this Japanese camera that nobody wanted. You know.
What store was this where you put it on layaway?
Oh, it was a pawn shop.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was
Oh,
like an old school pawn shop.
but there were some interesting stories behind that camera.
Yeah, it took like 11 months to get that camera. I
Uh-huh.
mean, every little bit of money I got, I would just put on this camera, and But one thing I appreciate about my parents is they never told me I couldn't do it. Like I would be like, hey, I'm gonna make, and they'd be like, yep, we'll be right there watching. Like they never discouraged me. They never said like, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about? Like, um, nobody ever said I couldn't. So I never thought there was something I couldn't do. You know.